Hi everyone, my name is Julie Mann. I'm a professional network marketer, I'm an actor, and I'm also an EFT practitioner. And today I'm joined by personal trainer Ryan Wescott. Hi Ryan.
Hi Julie.
How you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you.
I know you're not used to being interviewed, are you? So
no, this a bit out of my comfort zone today.
well,
However,
that's
this
always
is
good.
what I'm doing at the moment.
Fantastic. Okay. So firstly, how important is it for people to, have physical fitness, whatever age they are? How important is that, do you think?
Yeah, I think we all know that being active and not living a sedentary lifestyle is important. For kind of just moving on a daily basis is good, and not being a couch potato, as they say. But yeah, for your mental health and kind of all round well-being.
Okay, so I know from chatting from you before that, like most of us, you haven't always taken care of yourself, have you?
No, not at all. So,
how about you tell us a little bit about life up until now?
okay, so
So that people can understand that, the transformation that you've gone through, and that it doesn't matter, no matter what your past has been, that actually it is possible to develop new healthy habits.
Yeah, so I think, as I told you previously, you've known me since I was a lot younger, and I've always been active within sports, within fitness. I played a lot of rugby, a lot of football, played a little bit of cricket. Any sort of sports when I was younger, I'd kind of jump into. However, through my teens and through kind of some traumatic events in my childhood, I ended up smoking and taking drugs from quite an early age. So smoking weed, experimenting in recreational drug use, from mushrooms to ecstasy to cocaine. I used all these different types of drug, I suppose, to escape and to suppress a lot of kind of hidden emotion. Things that I didn't even realize that I was going through, or I didn't realize I was really suppressing it at the time, but it was a way to escape and a way to be accepted around my peers as well. I carried on playing sport throughout my teens. I kind of captained my school and school rugby club and played for club, and then got into the county reserves, so Sussex Reserves rugby, where I injured my shoulder. Then I kind of stopped playing as much rugby, kind of late teens, and then started kind of heavily taking more drugs and partying and, meeting girls as we do, and kind of just the kind of party lifestyle. But I had a lot of pain. I got offered surgery on my shoulder, which I didn't really want to take because my cousin had surgery, similar operation, and he lacked range of movement by the end of it, and also had like nerve damage. So I decided to take a different route and kind of look into the body. And I was getting acupuncture off someone who mentioned a course, and they said, yeah, maybe worth kind of taking it up. It was at that time I was living on my own in a flat. I'd kind of burnt all bridges with my family, my mum and my stepdad. I annoyed because I had coming back from a drug-fueled weekend, and ended up having a fight with my stepdad. Again, one of the knock-on effects of being intoxicated and not really being in the right headspace. Any little thing I'd end up reacting, and I wouldn't call myself a violent person. However, I remember my stepdad said, I said something to my mum. I think it was something about washing, and my stepdad, then I called her a bitch or something. And then my stepdad, as he had the right to, said, don't speak to your mum like that. And then we ended up getting into a fight. After that, I couldn't stay there. Me and my dad had a fight, something completely separate, on another night, which ended up with him being badly injured and me also being quite injured as well. and then I couldn't see him for a while. So he was actually on bail against me. So I wasn't allowed to see him for a few months. So I went into living on my own. So I procrastinated a little bit there, little sidestep back into it. Anyway, I ended up living on my own. I ended up going on this course that I got advice to go on, and just to learn a little bit more about the body. And yeah, I got really into it. I ended up staying up for nights, looking into the shoulder girdle, looking into all the different muscles, the anatomy, the physiology. So I got a real kind of keen passion. And I never was really that into being at school. I never really wanted to be at school. I was always looking to, again, escape. I was clock watching, always looking to see when the lesson would end. I was never disruptive. However, I didn't really want to be there. I didn't put a lot of effort into my academic years. However, I found a real keen interest into how the body worked and kind of injuries. I then went on to personal train. Then went on to do gym instructing at Withdene Sports Complex, and which was DC Leisure, and then which turned into Freedom Leisure. Was class instructor, so like spin classes and other exercise classes. Then did my personal training alongside, and then after I think 3 years at Withdene, ended up going self-employed at Studio JRL, and so I built my clientele up there. However, the whole time I was partying through this whole period, not always so intensely. I had a number of relationships that kind of didn't go wrong, and looking back, I kind of put a lot into these relationships and a lot of expectations on my partner or partners, kind of the stuff that I was unhappy about in myself. We tend to do that, and especially with an addictive personality, I'm kind of all in it when I like someone. They become my world. I become so absorbed by them. But yeah, I ended up for a few breakups, and I went through quite really anxious periods. Drugs started increasing. Drug taking started increasing, and obviously the anxiety alongside with that started increasing too. And throughout kind of all these periods as well, I was kind of getting into, especially through my teens, getting into situations which led me into fights, or I was always in the wrong place at the wrong time. And I remember from an early age, my dad said, have you ever felt intimidated, that you're to take the biggest one out first, and then kind of the rest will either run or you just follow with them. Yeah. So I always seemed to get myself into situations which led to being locked up, or not that I ever got a criminal record, but yeah, too many silly situations like that. So a lot of anger in me. I was always smashing phones and really kind of short temper. Always had a short temper. I suppose just not having the tools to deal with the situation. And yeah, so back to I was at Studio JRL for a number of years. I started getting really bad anxiety and panic attacks. Could be around friends or family, and I'd start. It was like I was in a bubble of heat, and I couldn't escape, and I wouldn't be able to focus. I wouldn't be able to take in what people were saying to me. So it'd be like a computer on lag. You could. It was just always trying to catch up. So yeah, I struggled with that for a number of years. However, I managed to build up quite a good clientele. And sorry, bear with me 1 minute. Just done an interview. So for a number of years, I tried to deal with that. I actually thought I was ill at one point, because I was looking up like I don't know, brain tumors, and because I'd gone from being a highly confident person, you know, very outgoing class instructor, felt very confident around my peers and around, you know, the other people throughout the gym, and yeah, then went to kind of crippling anxiety and panic attacks. And I also started developing really bad stomach problems. I'd always had them throughout my life. I'd had them from quite an early age. Kind of sore stomach, bubbling stomach. However, in my 20s, it was like chronic indigestion and acid reflux, which kind of built up and built up. And yeah, I was kind of going in and out to the doctors, but the doctors didn't seem to think it was too much. And again, I was, to everyone else, I was this personal trainer, gym instructor, I was a fraud, really. You know, I wasn't practicing what I preached. I would do diets. I'd do extreme diets. It was all or nothing. So I could go a month on a certain diet, paleo, for example, not touching sugars, not, you know, refined sugars. Not touching alcohol, not smoking. And then I'd have one night with my friends, and I found a lot of it was I kind of isolate myself from seeing my friends. And then because I'd gone so hard into it, eventually you break. Yeah, it's like, it's so extreme, the other side of the spectrum. And then I'd go for 2 or 3 days on a binge. You know, I'd stay up with them, roll through with them, and it was like my worst self. And I failed to mention this then. I was always in relationships. It was like serial monogamy, but without the monogamy. Non-monogamy. I was always cheating. I say that with a smile. It's not very funny. However, I can look back and, you know, I've taken a lot from it now, and I've spoken with a lot of my exes, and listened to a lot of the exes. Obviously, it was not a very nice thing to do, but it's all part of my journey. You know, this is how I got here now, and it was all part of kind of my conditioning, my autopilot, my subconscious. I would be saying, "Oh, I'm not gonna cheat. I'm not gonna sleep with this girl." I'm gonna be kind of texting her as I'm saying I'm not gonna do it. You know, just like the drug taking. It was, I'm not gonna take any drugs today as I'm sniffing a line of cocaine. It's just my patterns, my programming of past trauma were so set that it's like I couldn't escape the inevitable. It was going to happen anyway, so I might as well do it. I was going to break at some point. So I went through years of kind of torturing myself and beating myself up because I went from one extreme to another. My friends would say, you're either all or nothing. You're either completely on it, like, you know, going to the gym 5 times a week. I did lots of yoga, I did lots of gym work, I did bits of gymnastics. I was really into that side of the sports. But then, and obviously with my clients, I loved seeing people get results, and people did get results. That wasn't the thing, but also I kind of put in there a lot. I think you get out what you put out to the universe, you get back. So I wasn't always reliable. I let myself down. I wasn't professional. I slept with clients. I cheated on my partners. I was late to appointments, or forgot to book appointments in. You know, I wasn't being true to the nature of the industry I was in. I was a fraud. So I did a number of years within PT, and throughout this time, different girlfriends, hurt a number of girls. And then I decided enough was enough. I was sick of building myself to break myself down. And I thought maybe a change in lifestyle within a different line of work. So I went into recruitment with my dad. And, Yeah, recruitment is a stressful business. I was just doing the resourcing, but it was a lot to take in, and I did actually refrain from smoking weed and stuff like that at the beginning, early stages, because it was a lot to take in. Learning something new, especially within technology, lots of new buzzwords and stuff I'd need to know to find correct candidates for the JD. However, the more comfortable I got with it, the more I slipped back into habits, and I ended up smoking and partying, and especially with kind of the money coming in, when it does, you get bigger packages, right? So the partying started coming in, and it's very much that pub lunches, that sort of lifestyle. And I started taking more and more cocaine again, and again, more anxiety coming in. But I kind of got to a level, I think, because I was speaking to people more and being out and in the office, and like I hadn't gone back to how my anxiety was a lot better than it was before. But still, I was not being true to myself. Again, dipping in and out of relationships that would just fall to pieces, and cheating on people, and just not being true to myself, really. I think the whole time, when I was taking cocaine in the end, I wasn't enjoying it. It was like, the whole time I'd be, should I take it? Should I take it? And if I didn't take it, it was like, the night was about me in my head thinking, I might as well take it. I would give in because I'd been torturing myself the whole night. And then as soon as I did a line, I'd be like, why have I done that? And I'd spin out in front of my friends. And I went from being someone, my early days of taking drugs, it was excitement and party, kind of like recreation. And then it became something that was just like, I didn't like who I became. I didn't like this character I became. And it just became so dark. And, I ended up doing coke on my own a lot of the time, staying up for days, freaking out. I used to think people were breaking into my house and all sorts, like literally psychosis. So a lot of kind of shame behind all of that kind of side of things. And a lot of dishonor behind my activities, and kind of being this persona of this person. But different personas. One to people within the health and fitness industry who thought I was this PT that, lived and breathed fitness, and then persona to my mates that thought I was this lad, rugby lads, kind of bit of a boy, who would always have their back if there was any fights that kicked off. But little they know as well, from early childhood, I had a number of encounters with some guys, and that was a massive confusing thing for me, because from kind of from my teens, kind of late teens until present day, I've been with women, but in my head I'd struggled massively with my sexuality as well. So that realizing that was always also something that was in kind of the back of my head. So not only did the people that I worked with, or the industry I was in, I was a fraud to that, but I was also a fraud to my friends and my family. I was basically just so disconnected with who I was. And this created so much illness within me, my mental state, my relationships, my relationships with everyone else, my relationship with myself, like my own self-worth. I really struggled with who I was, and kind of accepting me and loving me. And I was actually really inspired by my brother's girlfriend and my brother. So my brother's girlfriend, Abby Flynn, she was a real kind of inspiration to me. She had cancer, and with self-love and expression, she managed to cure her cancer. She went into remission, and she was also supposedly meant to be barren. However, they have a 10-month-old baby together now. So yeah, like amazing story. I'm sure if anyone's listening, look up Abby Flynn. She's a great singer, songwriter, artist, with a great, very inspiring story. And also my brother, Bradley Wescott. Yeah, he really inspired me. He had an autoimmune disease and managed to overcome like his kind of illnesses with self-expression. So I suppose I had a lot of support around me. I had my mother as well. She's always been very supportive. Sometimes not in the ways I wanted her to be. You know, when I needed money or I was kind of feeling sorry for the position I put myself in through keeping myself poor through, you know, abusing drugs and not really being connected with life in the world. You know, she wouldn't just give me money. She wouldn't, you know, she knew when to go, no, this is not doing you any good. So, but she, you know, looking at it now, she must have felt like she was whacking her head against a brick wall. Yeah, so, but she was very supportive. And my dad was at times. However, me and my dad have a very toxic relationship, and with years of, I think it's just so much trauma and so many kind of unsaid things, or yeah. So I realised I'm going from one thing to another here. But yeah, I had a lot of support around me, and it was only until quite recently, so it's 3 months today. Whoop, whoop. I stopped battling against life itself, and I mean, it took me to a real dark place in the end. I was in a really codependent relationship, and I'm not going to poison the water, and I haven't asked permission to speak about it, so I won't go into it too deep. However, there was a lot of kind of nasty stuff going on in the relationship, and a lot of tit for tat and game playing, and it put me into my worst self. And I felt like I was going mad. Felt like I was turning into, I'd say my dad, but my dad's been through a lot of trauma, and my dad's not always been, I suppose for me, how I perceived it, his psychological state's not always been the most stable. And I felt like I was turning into that a bit. And all the patterns, I knew the patterns were there. I knew that I was constantly repeating the same cycle. However, it felt like I couldn't break it, and my anxiety levels were up. You know, I was taking more and more drugs again. I was ill. I was like in the worst state of my illness. It turned out I had like ulcerations throughout my gut and my intestines. Onset of something called H. pylori, which a lot of people have this bacteria in their gut. However, obviously, it doesn't affect as many people. It doesn't always affect people, but with what was going, there's more to it. You know, your mind's, your stomach's your second brain, right? So there's a lot of suppressed emotion in there. And I actually got to the point where I tried to take my own life. It got really dark, and my relationship was at its worst. A number of my friends said, you know, why didn't you come to us? But when you're in that state, you don't really want to. And there was a lot of stuff that they didn't know that was going on in my head. And I remember waking up. I woke up from this. I'd been on a 3-day binge, and then took like 2 boxes of paracetamol and like bottles of Prosecco. And I don't really know. I remember kind of wrote a note, and I remember waking up and thinking, shit, I can't believe I'm still here, you know? So it was, I think from that moment, I realized that either I changed and I was true to myself and open with myself, or I was going to die, you know? That was going to be it. So I ended up speaking to my mom, my friends, so my best friend, and I was explained about, you know, what was going on in my head, my sexuality, the fact I was bi, also, which, you know, like no one cares. No one actually, you know, anyone who is struggling with that stuff, no one actually cares. I built up so much in here, but I had to kind of get it out. And not that it's anyone's business what you get out to in the bedroom. However, it's, you know, you always build these things to be worse in your mind. My mum didn't care. My mum, yeah, she can, I was about to swear then, but she didn't care at all. And neither did, no one cared. My brother, my best friend, the various other people I've told along the way, various other friends. I'd spoken to my dad about it. Something had happened 2 years before at a family wedding. I'm going back a little bit now. And I told my brother at a family wedding 2 years before. I'd been on the Landmark forum just previous to that. So it kind of opened Pandora's box a little bit and into kind of a bit of self-development. However, something kicked off at the wedding. I think someone overheard me speaking to my brother about it, and then he ended up saying something quite nasty about it, and it ended up in an altercation, which led to a big punch up. Typically at a family wedding, that's bit of a cliche, right? And it was quite traumatic, really, because then my dad turned up. He was going to pick up my brother's girlfriend, and it was like, what's all this about? You know, the kind of homophobic comments. And anyway, I ended up speaking to my dad, and he was like, I don't care. I don't, you know, which was great. It was lovely. However, I still wasn't quite comfortable with it all. So then I kind of retreated shortly afterwards and was just like, no, I don't think, which I was, again, it's quite a confusing thing anyway, because it's not like what really I'm pursuing a lot of the time. But I know it's in there. I know that's just part of me. Anyway, so yeah, coming back to modern day. After trying to take my own life and speaking to my friends, I decided to go into meditation, start meditation on a daily basis. I started kind of a lot of self-help kind of books, reading self-help books and following coaches and following just different kind of inspiring people. I kind of followed a lot of Mark Groves. He's kind of saved me, especially when I ended the relationship I was in, and that he saved me a lot. You know, there's a lot of times I felt down, and I'd listen to his podcast, and it would really lift me. So big thanks to him. Meditation. I started doing daily meditation with my dad as well. He's done some Buddhist practice, and that really helped me. And just, kind of really, I think once you get into that mindset, something just clicks. You've got to hit rock bottom to actually start living again. And once everything was out, all this stuff that I was suppressing for years, all this emotion and all the worst chatter in my head was released. It was like, I don't care now. I speak to anyone. I tell anyone, this is me. So if you don't like me, or you're not happy with my life choices, then don't be in my life. You don't have to be my friend. You don't have to be someone who hangs around with me or has anything to do with me, because this is me, and I'm not willing to kind of keep myself small anymore, which is a real liberating feeling once you kind of connect with the world. And the world will send you, the universe will send you like I believe it sends you signs. And I really go with how I feel now, instead of, for years I was battling against things. And life can be easy. Life can be a struggle, or life can be easy. And you can listen to life and listen to kind of things that align with you, which now, like the way I live, I'm back personal training in an area which I love, back in Brighton. Amongst like-minded people. I've met a lot of people with either similar experiences or live their way, the life the way I do. A lot of spiritual people, a lot of beautiful people inside and out. If you don't battle life, it kind of sends you signs of kind of how to go. And I just go with how I feel really these days, which is amazing, So moving out of from Shoreham back to Brighton was kind of my next step, getting away from a few top, in my mind, it's kind of just, it wasn't aligning with where I should be, and the people I was hanging around with is you know, you attract what you put in. I don't want to muddy the water. However, I don't think being around the energy I was around was doing me any good. And so I kind of cut a few ties and I moved out here. And it's only by chance of me bumping into someone I hadn't really seen since I was like, I don't know, 15 years ago, right? So bumped into someone after having an argument with my dad due to the letting agency booking us into the wrong place to visit for one of the flats I was viewing. I had 8 days to get out of the current flat I was in with my ex-girlfriend, and bumped into a friend, and he said, look, I can move you into a place in Brighton the next day, which was just like, wow, if I hadn't had that argument, I wouldn't have stormed off down the road, and I wouldn't have bumped into my friend East, and I wouldn't have been put in this building I'm in now, sharing. So that's a beautiful house share with really cool people. And which is, funny enough, just up the road from where I work now, and managed to connect with one of my old friends from Whitby, who's done really well for himself. So at the Fitness Hub, which is a really cool gym, like personal training gym with great energy. And they've done really well there, both Alex and Adam. Well done to them both. Really kind of good community there, which is lovely. And yeah, just making some brilliant friends at the moment, really networking with some lovely people and surrounding myself with good energy. And I've just created this whole little world here, funny enough, where I was actually dreaming about for the last year, being back. It's actually where I grew up, kind of my happiest times. So yeah, it's been a bit of a journey. And this last 3 months, I've probably lived more in the last 3 months than I have in 10 years. So back to you, Julie.
Yeah, quite a story, Ryan. Thank you so much for, I mean, some people might say for being brave enough to, you know, be so open and honest. And I know that there'll be lots of people watching who can relate to maybe all of your story or certain aspects of your story. And one of the things you talked about was feeling like a fraud. And yeah. I think that happens for so many people. So coming out the other end, you know, what would you say, you know, why would you say it's so important to be yourself? I mean, it might be an obvious answer really for some people, but for other people, you know, who haven't experienced perhaps, you know, being who they truly are. Some people don't even know who they truly are because they are kind of living someone else's life, or perhaps aren't, you know, they're kind of stuck in whatever it is that they're doing. In your opinion, why would you say being your authentic self, you know, being true to yourself is so important?
Well, I just think that, you know, the most important thing is valuing your self-worth. And I think if you're not able to be your true self around your friends or your family or whoever, I don't know, if you're not able to be you, then you're not really living. You know, it's limitations. You're keeping yourself small for others, and you know, you're only here once. And then I think it was on a forum, they said, you know, what are they going to write on your tombstone? You know, say today I felt really uncomfortable at the beginning. You're probably going to look at this and notice how I've freed up, because this is one of the things that I struggle with, cameras, and never been good at it. And obviously being out there and putting my story out there is quite a revealing thing. But, you know, what are they going to say on my tombstone? First 10 minutes of a Zoom chat, looked nervous and scared of the camera, you know, like it's, you don't put yourself out there. You don't put yourself in situations where you're a little bit out of your comfort zone. You never grow, and I'm all for growing now. That's my new hobby, is feeling comfortable with being uncomfortable. Yeah, so yeah, it is. Things are difficult for the first, I don't know, took a couple of minutes maybe to warm into that, and yeah, you do at times kind of go back to it, but it is a lot easier And just being yourself and being able to be you is liberating.
Absolutely.
And not living for someone else, basically.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. So going back to fitness now, so what would you say are the things that people struggle most with when it comes to fitness?
It really depends, doesn't it? Some people are confident and going to the gym thinking they know it all, when sometimes they don't. Some people really struggle with just entering the gym. I know a lot of clients I've had have not wanted to be on display, which is very understandable. Really depending on kind of what background they go to. I know, within their industry, they're highly confident professionals. However, stepping foot in a gym is really overwhelming for them. So yeah, it could just be like growing your confidence level. That could be really, really tough. Or it really, really depends on the individual. Everyone's different. Everyone has different fears and have different things that they struggle with. So it's a difficult question to answer, if I'm honest.
Okay, fair enough. So obviously there are many personal trainers out there now, aren't there?
Yeah.
There obviously is a need for personal training, but why would you say it's beneficial to have one?
It really depends on the individual. If you're able to self-motivate yourself and you know enough to write a program that's specifically targeted for your goals, then that's fine. Maybe you don't need one. There's majority of the people don't work to their maximum, their full potential. And a lot of people don't actually know how to write a program that's specific and tailored to what they're wanting. You might have injuries you don't really know how to overcome unless you have good knowledge of the body. I mean, not to say that I think a lot of people should feel what feels right for you, and feel if, no one knows your body like yourself. So you should really listen to yourself. However, guidance is always good. And I think also not just going for any PT, but connecting with your PT, making sure that you've both got a similar kind of outlook on life, that you gel, that you've got good energy together, because it's a relationship in a way. It's personal, and a lot of my clients have become friends with in the end. So it's not, I'm not looking to just have that hour session and that's it. A lot of my clients, when I speak to them now, we'll go for coffees, or we go out for, days out on the kayak, or just you get to know people. And I prefer it that way. I don't want it to be like a conveyor belt of people in and out. That's not really my way of doing things. I like to know what's going on. I like to share, as you can tell. And I think when you share with people, they share back. And I think that you really get the most out of things with people. Whether it's addiction or disorders or other health conditions that they're not prepared to just open up. Or just a style of life that's stopping them and preventing them from reaching their target goal. A lot of people with stress, they don't realise you're living in constant stress. Running off your adrenal glands. You're going to have hormone imbalances. That's going to prevent you from losing weight or gaining muscle. There's going to be other things that are involved, not just the training side of things. Like if you don't have this sorted. I put meditation into people's programs now because it's helped me so much, and it's kept me grounded, and it's helped me to try to work through a lot of things and lower my stress levels. If you're not able to, you're living in that fight or flight all the time, don't expect to really get results. You could have the best program tailored to you and still not reach your potential. So yeah, I think I've answered that.
So what do you think makes you stand out from the rest, Ryan? What's different about you?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of brilliant coaches, a lot of brilliant PTs. Other people that do this as well. I mean, I'm not looking just to be a PT anymore. I'm as I've said to you before, Julie, I'm looking to be going into some coaching myself long term. And I think really, as I said, I think I kind of answered it in the last question a little bit, that it's more, I'm looking for more all rounds. I'm not just looking to end at the hour. I'm looking to, you know, whether I like people to open up and be themselves. I like to get to know my clients. I like to, and then, you know, a little bit more about them, or you know what's kind of holding them back from reaching these goals. Again, like, no one would have known, or very little people would have known, that behind closed doors I was going home and smoking spliff and sniffing Charlie. You know, it just, I think people get a feel, and a lot of people, if you're connected, they get an energy. I go off at people's energy now, so I kind of know when people are being a bit of a fraud, and I can feel, you know, as you said to me, when my energy level is completely different now. What I give out it's a different, it's completely different.
Totally. So, and we are all energy, aren't we?
We're made up of energy, yeah.
So, yeah. So, are there any simple tips that you've got right now to give someone watching who might be just thinking about starting their journey of fitness? Something simple that people could take away and go, oh yeah, okay, I could do that.
It really depends. Again, if you're, I mean, it's shocking. I used to lay in bed especially after having heavy weekends. If I didn't have work on Monday, I could sleep in on Monday, all day watching Netflix. If you're that sort of person, just get out, just move, get moving. Really, so get moving, get out, do something with your day. It doesn't have to be anything that's even exercise. So if you've had a heavy weekend and you're trying to get, I think sometimes building that momentum and just going for a walk around the park, or going, maybe you do like cycling. If it's a nice day like today, like get on your bike, just get moving in some sort of way, or find something that inspires you. I find, like, you know, not everyone's a gym goer. So is there any sports? Is there any, you know, I quite like gymnastics. I've actually got into dance recently. I'm looking to take up dance lessons, and, you know, I've always been into quite masculine types of exercise, like rugby and mixed martial arts. And however, like, yeah, kind of doing something that's a little bit, you might find that your friends kind of like, who cares? Again, who cares? Do something. If it's putting on the music in your room and having a little dance, or finding something that inspires and relates to you and to your needs, doing yoga. Again, it doesn't necessarily have to be your specific going to the gym or going out on a run, or if you're trying to do something that you're fighting against, that you have no desire to do, you're not going to want to do it. You know, you're just not going to get up and do it realistically. But if you find something that appeals to you just slightly, you know, maybe look into it. Maybe just see what's out there. See if there's any classes. See if there's online classes. So that's quite a hit at the moment. You know, if you feel that you're quite a nervous person and feel anxious exercising around others, do a Zoom. Go on YouTube. Follow I looked up some breakdancing techniques the other day, which my friend laughed as I tried to do it the other day, like in the park, which was a complete flop. But hey, you know, if you don't put yourself out there, if you live within limitations, you're not going to enjoy your life. So yeah, get moving. That's what I say. Just try and get moving.
Brilliant advice. How would people find out more about you once they want to do that?
So currently I'm on Facebook. However, again, I've just gone back into my personal training. As I said, I was in recruitment for 2 years. I am currently working from the Fitness Hub in Preston Circus.
Which is in Brighton, for people.
Which is in Brighton.
Brighton.
So yeah, either contact the Fitness Hub, or you can contact me direct. Actually, we're all on honesty at the moment, so I went out on my kayak the other day and broke my phone, so don't ring me. Or message me on Facebook, Ryan Wescott. Message me on Facebook, or phone through the Fitness Hub. That's your best way of getting hold of me.
Fantastic. And anything else you'd like to say before we finish up?
No, I think I've shared. But yeah, thank you again for today, Julie, and putting me out of my comfort zone. But that's good. Feels good. So
pleasure. Thank you so much for talking to me today.
Thank you very much, Julie. You have a good day.